Hello, Aries, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of it. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle, really looking at what is the purpose of this connection and what is the best way to move forward in alignment with your higher self. These energies can absolutely be swapped, so if you resonate more with the energy to my right than to my left, that is totally fine and totally normal. And then if you're a cross-watcher, then that's vice versa. Do please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, so take what resonates and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. As always, I'll be using a different tarot deck for each side of this connection, but I've already gone ahead and pulled the overall energy and clarified that, so we'll jump into that in just a second. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Aries, on your side, my mic's been weird, so I might check it throughout this reading. On your side of this connection, you have full moon with the Three of Swords. Full moon kind of being like closing out a cycle or a phase, right? Not necessarily a phase, but more a cycle. And this Three of Swords, it feels like this has been a very painful cycle for you here, Aries. And I feel like this connection to this person has been very painful, and it's been very difficult to not just navigate, but also kind of close the cycle that's been painful within the connection. Because even if the connection is healthy, there can still be a cycle within the connection that makes things difficult. And so I do feel like that might be one of those. This whole connection as a whole is either a cycle or there's a cycle within the connection that's been very painful. Now, this person, they have past life with justice in reverse. So I definitely feel like this is some sort of a past life connection. So when you met this person, it probably felt very natural, very easy. It felt like, you kind of already knew them when, you guys kind of met. But also, I feel like what this could be is that this person is from like a past life of yours, meaning like on earth, like they're from your past. Now, this justice in reverse, it feels like this is one that you don't feel like you've gotten. I know this is their energy, but this is the overall theme for it. It feels like you haven't gotten your justice out of this connection. Like, I don't know, you feel like you haven't gotten what you deserve. I don't know if you're looking for like an apology or closure or forgiveness, or what the case is. It just feels like you haven't gotten what you need to fully close out this cycle from this person. And I don't know necessarily what that is yet. Hopefully we'll get some more information when we dive into tarot. But in between this connection, you have spiritual cleansing with the Four of Wands. What you're going through in the cycle that you're closing out here is very, the Four of Wands is a foundation. It's a foundation to build on. And when we don't have that foundation, a lot of things in our life tend to kind of fall apart. If we don't have the foundation of trust and security and faith and, the things that are necessary in order for us to build upon, then we'll often experience, relationships ending or things having to kind of get wiped clean to start over. And this connection, the cycle that you're completing through this connection, is actually helping you build a solid foundation for yourself to be able to build on in the future. I don't know, again, like the details of what that means yet, but I do feel like this purpose of this connection is a little bit more like the purpose runs a little deeper than you might think. But let's start, Aries, by looking at your side of this connection. You have full moon with the Three of Swords. This is for Aries side of this. Woo! Okay. Aries side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is Aries side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Aries side of the connection. This is Aries side of this connection. I almost feel like the reason you feel you haven't gotten what you deserve here, sorry, this is just something to add on, is because I don't necessarily know if this person fully knows how to take accountability for the pain that you've had to endure in this. And I feel like maybe that's where you feel that things are not necessarily unresolved, but like where you don't have your closure. This is Aries side of this connection. Okay. Yeah, because this connection was frustrating. I feel like this connection brought up a lot of fear for you. A lot of your fear, your doubt, your insecurities, your even like past trauma was kind of really brought up through this. And I feel like you leaned on this person to kind of help you maybe work through it or help create a safe space for you or something. And they weren't that. And I feel like that left you feeling very alone, maybe even a little lost and not really sure like I don't know, like I just get this feeling of like feeling alone in this connection, even though it's still very much like you're still very much in it. It's like you still feel very alone. And I also feel like you were very heavily taken for granted in this connection. I feel like you gave a lot to this person. Maybe you were their support system and their safe space, but you never received that back. And that left you feeling, understandably, very resentful. This person, or Aries energy toward this person. Aries energy. Aries energy toward this person, please. See, you're burnt out from this. I mean, okay, these are all in reverse for some reason. You had certain expectations of this person, especially when this connection first started out. I feel like you were like, because like there's this past life energy, like I feel like it felt very, like you felt very hopeful. There was a lot of potential here. And then as time kind of moved on, things never lived up to that potential. Like maybe there were times where you saw glimpses of it, but I feel like things never really reached that point. And it was like you kept trying to chase this potential because you knew it was there and you knew it was possible, but then it never reached that. And so you just kind of were always left drained, just burned out. And I feel like it got you to a point where, because I keep saying this 10 of Pentacles in reverse. It's like no matter what, your energy was very taken for granted. Like you weren't, you didn't have the appreciation and the love and the just overall like feeling of being valued that you were looking for through this. And I feel like oftentimes when we feel undervalued, we try to prove more of our value. We try to show more of our value, and then the more we try to show that value, usually the other person doesn't really, like, it doesn't change anything for them because they still don't know how to reciprocate. And so it leaves us feeling more and more and more undervalued because you're giving more and more and receiving either the same or less. Aries energy toward this person. Aries energy toward this person. Knight of Wands in reverse with the Six of Pentacles. Okay, this one kind of threw me for a loop here. But there's the Four of Wands in reverse, which you have it upright in the middle. Okay, hang on. I want to clarify this. Clarifying the Knight of Wands in reverse and the Six of Pentacles. Knight of Wands in reverse, Six of Pentacles. Judgment in reverse with the Page of Cups. I mean, this is two energies, like not seeing the truth, not hearing the messages, needing to shine a light on something with the Hermit. Because the Knight of Wands in reverse with the Six. It kind of feels like what's coming through is like this connection was kind of like doomed from the start, but that sounds so like, I don't know, not good. It feels like there were some red flags that were ignored. Some red flags that were ignored here. And I feel like that goes back to seeing the potential, is maybe you were able to accept, like, yeah, I know this person is maybe a little bit emotionally unavailable now, or they don't have the emotional intelligence that, I have, but maybe they can get there. Like, I don't know, it just feels like there were some things at the beginning of this because of it comes back to this like past life draw that you had to this person. Like, I feel like it was just, you felt so comfortable, it felt so familiar, it felt so natural in the beginning that it made it easy for you to think that things could only improve, right? When in reality, I think that it kind of got worse, because not, or like stayed the same. Like, it just, they never got to where you were expecting or hoping them to get. Aries side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. One more. This is Aries side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is for Aries side of this connection. It's like you either don't or didn't. Like, if I'm talking about this connection in the present or past tense, just take it as it resonates. Want to walk away. Because I feel like you saw, like, it's like no matter how much things hurt, it's like you saw what things could be, and that potential. Yeah, it's like that potential. That's what's really coming through. And I talk about potential in a lot of my readings, but for some reason in this one in particular, it's really coming through. And it's like you didn't want to walk away because I feel like a part of you thought like you'd be throwing away something, like you'd be throwing away potential. But potential, you know, when you're in a connection with someone, of course, neither people are going to be at their like fullest potential, right? Like, the point when you get into a connection with someone is to grow with each other. Like, if you're not willing to grow with someone, then that connection isn't going to be sustainable. But what I'm getting at here is it feels like maybe you were willing to grow. You were willing to do what you needed to make it work, or to, you know, be with this person needed, or to be, you know, more vulnerable or better at communicating or whatever the case was. But it does not feel like this person reciprocated that. Like, it doesn't feel like they showed up for you in the way that you showed up for them. And that's where that emotional kind of drain came from. I want more on this death in reverse with the Eight of Cups. More on this energy for the death in reverse with the Eight of Cups. It is the past life connection, because there's a Six of Cups. And then the Judgment in reverse, it's like not saying the truth. It's like because of this like draw you had a certain like draw to this person that made things so hopeful in the beginning. And you spent, I feel like, the majority of your time in the connection not necessarily happy with where things were, but wanting things to be better than they were, because you saw what this person could be. And like, even if this could even be someone like you're moved on in another connection, remember, this is the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. So that could still be a connection from your past. You can still learn from someone who is no longer around, right? They're still showing up in your energy. But it doesn't have to be, right? But there's something about how like this connection isn't fully closed because you don't feel like you ever got what you needed to do that. Not the connection, sorry, the cycle that this connection brought into your life. Aries side of this connection. Aries side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. This is Aries side of the connection. Yeah, because it's a Knight of Cups with the Tower. Like, this is an incredibly emotional energy. I feel like if things did come to an end here, and I don't feel like they did for everyone, but if they did come to an end, it was very dramatic ending. Like, things were very like maybe you guys had a blow up, or there was, I don't know, like it just feels like this tower was very like, could have been out of the blue. Let me get more on this tower. High Priestess with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So every time you do kind of experience a tower in this connection, if this is a connection you're still currently in, or you again take this in the past tense if it's what resonates, but every time there was a tower in this connection, is a tower in this connection, it feels like I'm speaking to two kind of like different, anyway, it was very like anytime, like in the tower moment being like those really emotionally charged events that bring up like all of the things that have kind of been ignored. Like you often see in toxic relationships, and I'm not saying what this is, like that this is what this is. It's not, I'm not necessarily saying this was a toxic relationship or is a toxic relationship, but when you're dealing with those relationships where there's a lot of emotional highs and then kind of equal emotional lows, the reason for that is because during those times of like emotional highs, you're kind of suppressing the problems that create the lows. And so you're at these highs, and then something happens that brings things up, and it could be something small, right? That's like why you hear like couples get in huge blow-ups over like dishes in the sink or things like that, right? Because it's like these, and I'm not saying this has to be a romantic connection either, but um, a lot of times we don't realize, like when we're getting upset about something, that it's actually a deeper problem. And that's why, then you can kind of ignore it. That's when you enjoy those emotional highs, but then those problems are still there and you're going to get brought back down to those lows. And I feel like that happened a lot in this connection because there was a lot that was trying to be brought to the surface. I don't know if it was certain like, I read something once that said your biggest complaint about your partner is not actually their biggest flaw, but it's your biggest emotional need that's not being met. So when we have the same argument over and over with someone, what we're saying is I'm not getting what I need from you. And oftentimes it can be like, I don't feel like you're doing you're not doing, you're not putting your dishes away, or like you're not helping me clean up at night or in the morning, or whatever the case is. And what we're actually saying is I need help. Like I need help taking care of the house, or I need help, I feel like I'm doing this alone. And sometimes we don't realize how to verbalize that, and so it comes out in certain events. And I feel like that there were a lot of those in this connection where like you Aries were like fighting for your emotional needs to be met, but I don't feel like you were ever really heard or met with the understanding of like what you really needed. Like it just feels like you never got what you needed out of this. And I feel like that's still how you feel. Hope that makes sense. All right, Aries side of this connection. Aries side of this connection. Aries side of this connection. Yeah, there's that potential. I feel like it keeps coming back to this Ten of Cups energy. Like what you saw was possible here. Also feel like these are all flipped around. So still, that Ten of Cups is giving me the same vibe. The Hierophant in reverse, Ten of Cups in reverse, Five of Pentacles, and Nine of Pentacles. So you feel a deep loss with this connection. But what you lost, or what you feel you're lacking, is not necessarily the connection itself, but what the connection could have been or could be. That's what I feel like you're struggling with and grappling with. You're struggling with the most is like you want what this connection could be. And I get that. I super get that. But that potential, it can really keep you from seeing what's really going on, right? It can keep you from, forcing someone to take accountability, to saying, I'm setting these boundaries, and if you're not willing to step up to the plate, then I've got to go find it elsewhere. Because in our minds we start thinking, oh, this person in this connection has so much potential, therefore this must be the only connection for me, or the only, if I can't reach the potential with this person, then I'm never going to be loved, or I'm never going to be happy. And that belief can get us really stuck into believing that if things don't work out the way that we expect them to or want them to, that they're not working out for us. When in reality, that's just super, super not the case. All right. The person that Aries is dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now, clarifying past life with the Justice in reverse. It's funny. There's a Justice in reverse. This is for Aries. The person that Aries is dealing with, side of the connection to Aries. The person that Aries is dealing with, side of the connection to Aries, please. Person that Aries is dealing with, side of the connection to Aries. Could be dealing with the King of Pentacles. That would be an earth sign. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. You definitely don't have to be. Just like call them out as I see them. Okay. The Hierophant with the Five of Wands. I get the feeling that this person was been very well educated, very intelligent, very good with words. I don't know why I keep talking in past tense. Maybe the majority of you are dealing with a past connection, but I do feel like there's some people out there watching this that this connection is currently in their life. And I feel like this person is very good at dominating an argument. And I feel like when it comes to that, that's why you probably don't ever feel heard, is because not only do you not feel heard, but you probably feel very invalidated. It could be like, oh, you're asking for too much, and then they're good at like justifying how that's the case, or I don't know, like it really just feels like they're really good at using like intelligence or education or a way of with words or something to downplay like your needs. That was an interesting message. I haven't really had that before. This person's energy toward Aries. And maybe that leaves you second guessing yourself. Like, do I really need this? Or like, is this as good as it could get for me? This person's energy toward Aries. This person's energy toward Aries, please. Knight of Wands in reverse and the Tower. And then there's that Judgment. Okay. So, this person's a bit of a self-sabotager. You have this Knight of Wands in reverse too. This, to me, is a lack of vulnerability. But I feel like it's manifesting in this connection in different ways. Like your lack of vulnerability is not speaking up and being totally honest about what you need, want, deserve, whatever the case is. And theirs is not really being open to doing the same, but also to like hearing what you have to say. Like, because communication and vulnerability really is a two-way street. Like you can be vulnerable to someone all day long, but you don't actually build a vulnerable connection until both people are open and willing to be vulnerable. And I feel like maybe you started out being very vulnerable, in the beginning. Like maybe you were very honest, you were very open, you were very, this is how I feel, this is what I want. But then like you never got that back. So over time, you shut down, you shut off, because you somewhere along the way learned it doesn't matter what I think or feel. And I feel like that's where I keep getting this feeling that you felt very invalidated. Like you felt like anytime you tried to speak up for yourself, or even just try to connect on an emotional or deeper level with this person, like they shut it down or protected themselves in some way, shape, or form. And that's what led to a lot of these tower moments that I was talking about. Is okay, then you're trying to speak up about what it is you feel or think or want, and then this person invalidates that. So then you stop, right? You bury what it is that you think and feel and want, and then they leave a dish in the sink and all hell breaks loose, right? And then they turn around and they say it's just a freaking dish, like why are you so upset? And inside, maybe you're not able to verbalize it, but you're saying, I have been suppressing my wants, needs, desires, and values for you, and you're not able to see that, right? And so I feel like it really does turn into this, like, you're like, I don't even want to call it a lack of communication because it goes deeper than that. It's like maybe there are conversations happening. Maybe there are, there is communication, quote unquote, but there's not this vulnerable connection between these two people that's really saying like, I hear you, I see you, I understand you. And I feel like when you get shut down like that for so long, you start to believe that your value and your needs do not matter. And I feel like that's what happened to your Aries. And that's why you have had such a hard time to close out this cycle, is because in a backwards way, this connection was teaching you that the only thing that matters is your value. Not the only thing, but like the most important thing is like, are you valued in the places where you are? Are you valued in your career? Are you valued at home? Are you valued in your relationships? Because if not, maybe it's time to reevaluate, right? And I feel like that's why this is such a giant, huge, crazy big cycle for you, and why it has been so painful is I feel like you have spent a lot of time feeling incredibly undervalued. This person's energy toward Aries. This person's energy toward Aries, please. Okay. Could have been a third party. If there was or is, then you already know about it. Maybe that was just like the cherry on top. Like you were like, I don't know, you undervalue me, and then you go give what you didn't give to me to someone else. And I want you to know that if that's what it looks like, that's not what's happening. See it all the time, right? Especially when you feel like you've been in a connection you've been very mistreated, and then this person kind of, moves on to the next person. You're like, oh, look, they're giving them everything that they didn't give me. And it's like, no, that person is still not having their emotional needs met, because that person hasn't changed, right? But you have this Three of Pentacles with this Devil card. This person is really heavily struggling with this Devil energy. I don't know if this is addiction. I don't know if this is codependency. I don't know what this devil is, but this person struggles with this pretty aggressively. And I feel like that's where that's this third party. The third party is the devil. And again, it could be like, yeah, it's like addiction, codependency, or like an attachment to something else. Like, it doesn't have to be like a third party, doesn't have to be a person, but they're dealing with something that is creating a blockage in this connection. Yeah, because they're struggling with this devil pretty hard. Like, I don't know. This devil has pretty aggressive control over this person. This person's energy toward Aries. This person's energy toward Aries, please. Person's energy toward Aries. See, okay. They don't know what they want out of life, I feel like not even just in relationships. And I feel like that keeps them like one foot in, one foot out. And that is super unfair to you, because, and that's where what I feel is, it's like this person's one foot in, one foot out, and then you're doing what you can to pull them both feet in. And then like the more that you try to pull them both feet in, the further out the door this person gets. And so you're left feeling like, is it me? Am I not good enough? Is it my value? And the answer to that is no. It has nothing to do with you and everything to do with this person. But I also feel like the way that these energies connect and align, and the purpose of the connection, which we'll get to in the extended, but is really to show like your value does not come from anybody saying that you're valued, right? But oftentimes there are people that are put in our life to make us feel undervalued so that we do realize our value. The universe likes those backwards ways of teaching lessons, right? This person's energy toward Aries. This person's energy toward Aries, please. Why do these keep coming up? Eight of Cups. So someone walked away in this. This feels like a connection where someone walked away. And Aries, I think that might have been one of the best things that's ever really happened to you, because let me get more. Because I don't feel, it's like you kept trying to prove your worth to this person subconsciously, right? Like, not that you were like, oh, I need this person to see my worth. Oh my gosh. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying you were so desperate for this person's approval or anything like that. But I do think that the way that these energies connect, that's kind of like what's going to happen, right? When you meet someone that you see this potential of, and you're like, I need them to see this potential too, what you're going to do, even if you're not fully aware of it, is try to show and prove that potential. At least what you can control about it, like your side of it. Clarifying this Eight of Cups. This person's side of connection. So your higher self, you're the High Priestess, the Eight of Cups, is really trying to guide you to see that this connection ending is like a really good thing. But I feel, and like, not even just that it's ending, but that it happened. Because I feel like you've learned a lot more through this than you realize you have. And a lot more about what you're deserving of. Or maybe you have, maybe you do know, maybe you can see how much you've learned here. Because I feel, that's so weird, you have the Death in reverse. I'm pretty sure we saw the Eight of Cups with this Death in reverse here. And the High Priestess clarified it. Or it was a Tower. It was somewhere over here. Because when we're dealing with like past life cycles, like these are cycles that have followed you and have affected you potentially for lifetimes, right? Definitely in multiple situations or multiple phases of your current life, but possibly in lifetimes. And the situation is a reflection of how you believe that feeling undervalued is a necessary aspect of being in a loving connection. Or that fighting for your worth to be seen is necessary in order to have what it is that you deserve. And none of those things are true. But if you've experienced only that, and the majority of your beliefs, 95% of your movements, choices, and decisions stem from your subconscious. If you subconsciously have learned over time, because your experiences have shown you that your feelings don't matter, you're not valued where you are, well, then you're going to start to believe that that's the case. And that's where it's like, well, of course, you're going to feel that or, believe that way because you have experienced that. But you don't have to continue, because your beliefs are the root of your results. You don't have to continue to believe that. And this connection is trying to get you to transform those beliefs in a way. This person's energy toward Aries. It's the lack of reciprocation that was the biggest trigger, I feel like. And I feel like that stems from your childhood. I even sometimes feel like this person intentionally held back to trigger you. If you're dealing with someone who's on the side of being a little bit more manipulative. And so I just really feel like, because you remember, you have spiritual cleansing with the Four of Wands here. Like, I feel like the purpose of this connection and what it's teaching you is actually like, this connection really feels like it was a blessing in disguise. Is a blessing in disguise. helping you take your power back, helping you heal. But I do feel like this person is really fighting with this devil. Like at war with themselves in some way. All right, we're going to hop on over to the extended spiritual cleansing with the Four of Wands. I'm going to pull 9 different messages, and then I have an advice card to pull at the end. Thank you so much, Aries, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. Bye, Aries.